Welcome to the May 12th public meeting for the Zoning Board of the Village of Tuckahoe. Nancy, would you please call the roll?
Member Allison?
Present.
Member McBride?
Present.
Member Santos?
Present.
Member Palladino?
Present.
Chairman Giordano.
Present. Thank you. Our agenda for this evening, there are 3 items on the agenda for this evening. The first is the approval of the meeting minutes of the April 14th, 2010 meeting. Second will be 48 Yonkers Avenue, and item 3 will be 36 Chestnut Street. With regard to the item number 1, approval of the minutes of the April 14th, 2010 meeting, I'd like to have a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So adopted. Item 2 is 48 Yonkers Avenue. I believe from last month, we kept the public hearing open, and so we'll continue with the public hearing with those who are in favor of the resolution or the variance.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Leonard Brandis Architects, 2 Spencer Place, Scarsdale, New York. As requested from the board, we have gotten letters we got 8 neighbors, and the letter basically states that they have been informed of the current plan for the rebuilding of the garage of the Corrado residence located at 48 Yonkers Avenue. They see no problem with the plan and ask that you please grant the Corrados the variance necessary for them to move forward with this project. I'd like to add that to your package.
Okay.
In addition, I have brought more evidence that this is not out of character with the neighborhood itself. What I have is a larger plan, easier for people to see. Also an aerial view from Google Earth showing the properties and the block around. What we have is this block which has 26 single residences over here. Of these residences, there are 15 of them that have garages within that corner lot. This is how the whole block was set up. This was not, it was before the zoning ordinance. This was done a long time ago. Of those 15, 9 of them are garages that are larger in volume and size than our proposed project. So we're not doing something that's out of character. There's also a couple of sheds in the area that also right on the property lines as well. So we feel that this is keeping in character. The existing garage, which is not exactly a pretty sight to see, with all the equipment outside, will all be concealed. It will definitely be an improvement to the neighborhood. It'll close things in. There was a question as to whether or not we can shift this garage over, but it is so tight here, there's just no way to really turn a car. It is just impossible. And as you can see, all these other garages, very tight next to the houses, between the houses. They were hiding the driveways. They wanted to give as much property to the houses when they did that, when they designed this. So I think that we are staying well within, normal range of the house. There are other houses as well. On the block, just to did show some of these last time. I guess it doesn't hurt to show them again, just to make sure that everybody understands that there are large-sized garages on that block, and this is not a two-car garage. It's not nearly as big as these garages that are over here. So we're trying to just get something within character, and that will look nice within the space. Elevation-wise, we're talking about something that matches the house this time, not something like this. It is a beautiful home with stone and stucco, and we want to maintain that look of the house.
Yes, I have taken a walk through the area, and certainly I've seen the garages, and a lot of them are on property lines as well. So I'm on the grandstand.
Just for the clarification of the people at home, we'll make clearly understood that all of this construction that you're proposing here is all under one roof?
Yes, it's all
Okay.
in one room.
Right, okay. Just want to make that, clear.
Anyone else have questions? Should we read those letters into the record? Is that necessary?
I basically did.
Is that the text of all the letters?
The text of the letters has been read into the record, and just for the record, there's 1, 2... There's 9 letters from neighboring property owners.
Okay. Thank you.
With no objections, right, John? With no objections.
No, the text of each letter is identical. Whereas, for example, Angela Riccini, residing at 36 Alma Villa, Tuckahoe, New York, have been informed of the current plan for the rebuilding of the garage at the Corrado residence located at 48 Yonkers Avenue. I see no problem with the plan and ask that you please grant the Corrados the variance necessary for them to move forward with this project. Thanking you in advance. Best regards, Angela Riccini. And each letter repeats it from a different neighbor. One's at 40, Keith Love at 41 Alma Villa, Deborah Garin at 47 Alma Villa, and Annette and Sal Fonte at 38 Yonkers Avenue, a Judith Corrado at 42 Yonkers Avenue, a Mary Rose De Bren at 52 Yonkers Avenue, a Robin and Christina DeLeo at 34 Yonkers Avenue, and a Joan and R. Stabile at 60 Yonkers Avenue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone opposed to the requested variance? Has anyone prepared actually motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Has anyone prepared a resolution?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chairman, I've prepared a resolution on the 48. The application on this area variance requested by Christopher Corrado of 48 Yonkers Avenue, Tuckahoe, New York, for the relief from following sections of the building code. 1, Section 4-3.3, rear yard. Section 4-3.4.2, side yard. Section 4-3.4.6, buffer. Section 5-1.6.3, conformity to one or more requirements. Recommendation is for the area variances to be granted as the benefit to the applicant of the area variances outweighs the detriment to health, safety, and the welfare of the neighborhood. There will be an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood by granting of the variances, and there will not be a detriment to the nearby properties. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variances. A, the pre-existing garage is in total disrepair and has to be removed. There had been a variance approved prior to the 99 changes, but it was never followed through. Garage side yard, section 4-3.4.2 will remain the same. The rear yard will remain the same based on the moving of the garage 4.5 feet closer to the house, allowing pool supplies, heater, filter pump placed in the rear of the garage. This also will mitigate noises emanating from heater, pump, and filter. The garage will be roughly 8.5 feet wider than existing garage, but will not affect side or rear variances because it will be closer to the pool, right side of the garage. Section 4-3.4.3. Buffer will remain the same. Most homes in the area have garages on property line with little or no buffer. Section 5-1.6.3. Although non-conforming due to the difficulty of the project and the narrowness of the driveway and the pre-existing non-conforming neighbors' garages, the board's determination is to grant variances, section 5-1.6.3. The requested variance is not substantial. The requested variances are substantial, but based on narrowness of the driveway, safety issues entering and leaving, granting of these variances will make better use of the property. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood, in that the conditions will be improve the property and enhance its beauty. Although the alleged difficulty was self-created, and the board feels that variances changes would only enhance the surrounding community. The board adopts a negative declaration pursuant to seeker. I make the recommendation to approve the requested area variances with the stipulation that the completion by 1 year after receipt of granting all variances and for the construction to adhere to and be in compliance with the existing building code.
Nancy, could you call the roll, please? Pardon? We have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Member Allison.
In favor.
Member McBride.
In favor?
Member Santos.
In favor.
Member Palladino.
In favor.
Chairman Giordano.
In favor.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate all your help on this.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Good night. The third and final item on the agenda is 36 Chestnut Street. Do we have a presentation?
I'm short one, Judge. Mr. Wood. I would like to present two more return receipts that we had received subsequent to the initial handling in of the receipts. What we seek here is a variance, an area variance, to allow an existing storage shed on the property at 36 Chestnut Street to remain and obtain a certificate of compliance or certificate of occupancy for it. This shed was built back when the house was built in the 60s. At the time it was built according to Mr. Labrini, who did the building himself, John Labrini, who unfortunately is not here today. He's down south. He had applied for and obtained, at that time he was told he needed to get a building permit, and he did do that. Unfortunately, there's no record of it. And unfortunately, in these, 60 years or so, we don't have a receipt. 40 years, we don't have a receipt for it. So we have to act as if it really didn't exist. But he says he came, he applied for it, he paid in cash. So I can't, even if it was a check, we would never be able to find it at this point. And it's been existing ever since. It's nothing more than a storage building. The property at 36 Chestnut Street is located where that garage is in the back corner, is located up a very steep slope area. And adjacent to it, the property adjacent to it it's just a driveway area where they park vehicles, and there's another garage back to back with it. As a matter of fact, I have a few photos here which I'll present to you, which kind of shows the building. It's a little, at this point, it's too close to what would be required in terms of property line, but back when it was built, they didn't have that variance requirement as far as the property line and the various other things that are existing at this particular time.
Mr. Chairman, that's not true. I checked the zoning code and the requirements are the same back then as they are now, so a variance would have been required. So the board's aware of that.
We had, Mr. Labrini had no knowledge of that at the time, that something was required. We were under the impression that there wasn't any requirement with regard to size at that particular time back in the 60s when this was built. So I don't know when I don't have a copy of the old code or when the code changed, but I will present the pictures to show, and besides, it's surrounded by a chain link fence all the way around it. And as you can see in some of these pictures, the vehicles of the neighbors, which are parked almost against the property lines, and a garage back there almost back to back with one of the neighbors. So it doesn't interfere in any way with any of their use or occupancy of any of the adjoining houses. I believe that some of the neighbors did tell us that they sent letters to the board approving this, and I haven't seen them. I don't know if the board has them.
We have some letters, and we'll read them into the record.
Approving this structure, but it's, as I say, it doesn't have a driveway. It's not a garage. There's no way to get to it by vehicle because of the property lines and the existing house where it exists on the property lines with what's left. So I will show you these pictures.
Why don't you put them up on, do you think we can see them on the board, and then you can pass them around to
As
the...
a way of holding them up here, I don't have the magnet. Maybe on the top it'll stick. Maybe, yeah, some of them will.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Can you see those?
I can move them again. I don't know if this will... This will hold, yeah, this will work. That'll work. Okay, you can see on the picture all the way on the right, the adjoining property with the truck parked right against the property line by the fence, by the corner of the garage, and the picture on the left is, my left actually, is the same kind of closer view of the same picture to show that. The ones on the bottom here show the fence along the side, and then you can notice that there's another garage, what appears to be a garage behind it on the other side. So it really has no detrimental effect to any of the other neighbors, any of the other properties. And as I say, it's been existing for the past 40 years or so as such. We had no knowledge that it didn't have a permit or wasn't permitted to exist until recently when they did a search, and there was a determination that there was no violation for it, but it was a determination that there was no CO for it, although it appears on the property as the CO was strictly just mentioned the house and not the shed. So we're asking the board to give us the approval or the variances necessary to allow this particular shed to continue to exist.
So when was the transaction that occurred between the current owner and the seller of the property? I guess that would be your client.
My client just sold the property a month ago, not even. We went to search it prior to the sale, and that's when we made the discovery as to the situation that it did not have a separate CO for it.
And you handled this by way of the transaction through an escrow?
Yes.
And your client, you said, is out of state?
Right now, he's out of state, yeah. He's down in, I think, South Carolina or somewhere. But one of the owners is here, Susan Labrini. This was the house, a two-family, owned by John and Geraldine as to an undivided one-half interest, and Susan Labrini as another undivided one-half interest, and Susan Labrini is here. But this was built way back when the house was built.
And the purchasers, the current owners, are not here?
No.
No, okay.
No, they know of the application and consented to it. I think this application might have been started before they were even owners.
Excuse me, you say that this, how old is the house itself?
I believe around 1960, wasn't it?
Was it built in 1960, the house?
Yeah,
And then the shed was built
right around that.
right around that same time?
Right around the same time, right.
It was probably used as a storage to keep his tools and stuff in when he was building the house.
He didn't build the house.
Oh, no?
John Labrini did not build the house.
Oh,
No, he bought it from the builder.
well, whoever built it, that's what I'm thinking about.
No,
Oh, no?
no. It came up right as the house, right after the house was built, as it was built.
After the house?
Yeah. Within the year of the house being constructed. It's used for lawnmowers and storage and other things from the house, that's all.
And let me ask you, in 50 years' time, has there been any, from neighbors, any complaints or any,
No, not that I don't think that there's anything at the, certainly we would have gotten a violation if there was. And we're the ones who, brought it to the attention of the building department when we did the investigation. What we were looking for was the old building permit. And we did a lot of searching, and nobody seemed to be able to find it. So, for whatever reason, it wasn't, it didn't become of record. And unfortunately, we don't have the receipt or anything for it.
You forgot to put it back in the file back then, Bill?
I don't think Bill was here then.
I don't think it existed because it would have required a variance at the time. And I don't see it not going to the zoning board. Would have been different if it would have been compliant with the zoning requirements, that maybe it was overlooked, but not what it needed variances.
And one of the challenges here is the size of it. It is,
It's about 1,400 square feet, I think, yeah.
it's like a small house, not even so small.
But it's way, it's back out of the way, up the hill, and, so to speak, not bothering anybody. And been there for all these years. It's not, by removing it, we changed the whole character of what's been there, instead of the opposite way around. It's not something that was just built a couple of years ago, or something that was built and a violation was issued for it, or anything else. I mean, if nobody raised the issue, it would probably be there forever without being an issue, because it's been there so long. It's just,
It looks like
Something
it
to be
could last
cleared up.
forever.
Oh, it's built very well. I mean, it's in the block. And let me ask you, the purpose of this shed, or being that size, what was the idea? What were you going to keep in a 1,400 square foot?
strictly storage.
Just storage.
Yeah, the old man Labrini, John Labrini, who's not a youngster anymore either, his father built it, and he was a mason. From the old school. And that's why it's as substantial a structure as what it is.
Probably right, Phil. Probably kept tools in it if he was
Huh?
amazing.
Absolutely, that's what happened. Yeah.
Bicycles, the toys, you know, that's how we
Yeah, it's
furniture.
Well, he was-
301 square feet.
Excuse me?
It's 301 square feet,
Yeah.
not 1,400. 1,400, we'd have to increase it.
No, it's not. You're right.
I was going to say, that can't be 1,400.
Yeah, that's the plan. It's 8 by 20, 8 by 19. Yeah, it's not that large a shed.
15.2 by 18 something comes to 301 square feet.
Yeah.
301.12. big
Yeah,
guy.
50, you're right.
Yeah, it's not 14, I know.
Yeah. I don't know why it's on the application, it's 1,400, but it's wrong. Because there is an architect's rendering that was submitted to the building department.
Unless there was a basement and a sub-basement.
No, none of that. It was well built, though.
That's for sure.
It's still, still in good shape and was well built. It wasn't one of those put-together things. And from the plan, which I guess you have a copy of, you can see it's all the way back in the corner.
Right. Well, most of us, we visited the property, so
Right.
we've seen certainly where it's located and what it is. Your client, would he be back in time for a workshop? Would he be here? Is he coming back shortly, or is he
When's he-
Mid-June.
mid-June?
Yeah.
He's not been well, and
Okay.
he's down there. But as I say, they're both clients. Susan Labrini's here, and she's lived in that house as well, all these years, 42 years. And they raised, between them, they had 7 children, so there's a lot of stuff to be stored there. They don't have that much storage in the house itself. And that's why it had a hoop on it.
Right. Basketball.
Anybody else have any questions
No.
before we open up the public hearing? Should I read the letters in before we do?
As part of the public hearing.
Okay. Anything else?
That's about it.
Okay. Can we have a motion to open up the public
I'll
hearing?
make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the application?
For me and
Yes,
we have the
anyone
rest
for-
of the family
yeah.
members were, of course, all in
Yes.
favor of the application.
I think we'll read the letters into the record. We have a letter dated May 9th, 2010, to the zoning board from Stephen and Diane Bosan of 46 Chestnut Street, which says, in response to the letter dated April 20th, 2010, about the storage shed at 36 Chestnut Street. We do not feel it is an eyesore or an intrusion on anybody. Therefore, the Labrinis should be given CO for the building. Thank you. Stephen and Diane Bosan. There's another letter from Melina Costanzo of 50 Chestnut Street, without date, and it says, to whom it may concern, I will not be able to attend the May 12th, 2010 meeting, but in reference to the above, to legalize a storage facility in the rear of the property, would say I am in favor of leaving it as it is. It is not an eyesore and in no one's way. Finally, there is a letter dated Tuesday, May 4th, 2010, from Barbara Luciano. I'm sorry, it says from Josephine Liucci of 34 Chestnut Street, which says, to whom it may concern, I am in support of the issuance of a building permit to legalize a storage facility in the rear of the property located at 36 Chestnut Street, Tuckahoe, New York, 10707. Is there anyone opposed to the application? Okay. I do not believe that we're prepared to issue a resolution this month, but we'll keep the public meeting open until then, and conclude with a resolution next month.
Do you know
need a
when the
motion
meeting will
to
be
keep-
next month?
Pardon?
Do you know when the meeting will be?
Yes. Let's see. It's the second Wednesday of the month, so I'll tell you in a second. So in June, it would be June 9th at 7:30.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to take a vote to continue the public hearing for next month's meeting?
I think that would be a good idea. I'd like to take a vote to continue the public hearing on this matter until next month. Yes, please.
Member Allison.
In favor?
Member McBride.
In favor?
Member Santos.
In favor.
Member Palladino.
In favor.
Chairman Giordano.
In favor.
Would the board like to hear from John Labrini himself? Or is that?
I would say it couldn't hurt. By the same token, mindful of the fact that he may be ill, we're mindful of that, but I think it would help.
Okay.
And we do have a workshop, that's when it's Wednesday before, okay, that certainly they can attend, and certainly,
I believe that's June 2nd.
2nd, right, Bill? Yeah, June 2nd. So that might be advisable to show for that.
Okay.
And,
What time is that?
That's
That's
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
And here? It's here?
It'll be right on this floor, but in the back.
Okay.
In the back part of it, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the items on our agenda for this evening. Motion, I'd like to make a motion to close the public meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.